Hello everybody, I'm Sanji. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you so much. I appreciate your checking me out. And if you have been here before and you know the drill, I want to take this time to personally thank each and every one of you. I appreciate your time. I know that you can spend it anywhere in the world. And the fact that you choose to spend some with me definitely does my heart good. So, without further ado, we're going to get into the next video. So for those of you that are new around here, all I ask, a couple of things. Check the video out. Make notes as you need to, because we're all here to just learn about each other. And then at the end of the video, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe, share, like, but most importantly, leave a comment. That's right. I want to hear your thoughts because, as I said, we're all here to learn and share. I give you my viewpoints on the subject matter, but of course, this is you, this is your life, and your experiences matter also. So we're here to learn from each other. Okay? So you got it? Just remember in those comment sections, please be kind to each other, respect each other's points of view, even if it's different than yours. Okay? Alrighty, so let's get into it. This video is about how to argue with your mate based on the sun sign. Now, it doesn't have to just be about a mate. It can be how you can have a heated discussion with a friend or family member. But this is really the goal of the video, is to help you effectively communicate with that other person, okay? Now, every sun sign has a different strategy for how they go about dealing with confrontation and conflict, okay? Now, some sun signs, that was a tongue twister, will avoid it altogether. They will avoid confrontation like the plague. They don't like it, they don't want it, and they're out of here. But there are other sun signs that they welcome it. They also might invite it in because they just like the energy and the exchange. So the point of this video is to help you navigate if you are one of those people that you avoid it like the plague, but your mate happens to enjoy mixing it up a little bit, okay? The problem here is that when those instances happen in our relationships with other people, it can also be the detriment of the relationship. I mean, if you have a partner that they just enjoy the drama of heated exchanges, that can be a little exhausting, even if you think the world of that person. Well, with a little astrological understanding and some conflict strategy resolutions, you can get your point across to your mate in the most effective way. And in some instances, not only will your partner hear what you're saying, I'll teach you how to win the argument. Now, clear communication is essential and the bedrock of any strong relationship, friendship, okay? Without communication, you're not going to go very far because chemistry is only going to go so far. But even in chemistry, there has to be effective communication, okay? And people actually associate the way you communicate with the type of person that they think that you are. For example, if your approach to conflict is to immediately fly off the handle because you don't think that you're being heard, well, those around you will label you a hothead. Is that true? Maybe, maybe not. But wouldn't it be better for people to understand where you're coming from so that they can hear your point of view as opposed to repelling the moment that they think that you're in disagreement? Because nothing goes anywhere. We have people that perhaps are quite strong in their delivery of their opinion. Doesn't mean that they're angry or that they're bullying you. They just may have a strong way that they deliver it. Well, if you're one of those people, you too can check out the video to perhaps soften your delivery so that people can receive what you're trying to say, okay? And did you know that by delving into your astrological sign or the astrological sign of the other person, perhaps your boss, you can definitely figure out a more effective way to communicate and be heard, okay? So now keep in mind, your sun sign is not the only determinant of how you handle conflict and conflict resolution, okay? You would have to look at the person's entire birth chart to get them figured out pretty much to a science. However, it can help, okay? You also want to take a look at a person's Mars sign. So you want to look at your Mars sign and the Mars sign of your partner or the person that you're trying to better communicate with, and that will give you an idea really on how to get through to the problem if this is an issue that is really concerning you, because a person's Mars sign rules their assertive and driving force behind their actions and their feelings. Your Mars sign is your verb, so that's what's your call of action. But we can take a look at the sun sign, and the sun sign will give us some clues on how to navigate conflict with that person, okay? All the 12 zodiac signs have their own specific way of communicating with other people, in particular, their partners, okay? So sit back, let's get ready. Let's take a look at how the sun sign for each person can be better understood and how you can take the knowledge of how they communicate and be heard more effectively. And if you play your cards right, win the discussion. Okay? So get your pens and paper ready. Let's get into it. Let's talk about how your sun sign has an argument. And if you're involved with that person, how you can score a win. Stay tuned right after this. How to argue with a Gemini. Ooh, well, you already know you're facing it too. There's a possibility that who you start this conversation with might not be who you end the conversation with, because those twins are conflict masterminds. So let's talk about it. How do you argue effectively with Gemini? Well, you can approach Gemini with something that you think offended them, and depending upon Gemini's mood, they will pretend that they have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. True. Listen, here's the thing about Gemini. Geminis, secretly underneath it all, are control freaks, okay? Yes, you are, Gemini. Come on, face it. They control how much or how little they're going to communicate with you. So a Gemini, an offended Gemini, will assess whether or not the offense and the person that created the offense is worth them having the discussion with you at all. Okay, now here's the thing about a Gemini. They may have been mad at you for weeks. You just caught on to it. Doesn't mean that it just happened. You just got wind of it, all right? But they're still sleeping with you, showering you with affection, because Geminis are masters at hiding their feelings. As I said to you, a Gemini will see the offense and then immediately consider whether or not it is worth their time to go into what happened. Is it worth it for them? They may find other ways of dealing with the offense than just taking it to you straight on. Whether they choose to cut some form of communication is usually kind of subtle. They were calling you every morning. They're no longer going to do that. They were making you lunches with sticky notes. You'll get the lunch, won't get the sticky note. um, things like that. Very subtle. You have to pay attention to a Gemini. They will alter communication when offended. Doesn't necessarily mean they want to address it. Now, eventually, if they care about you, yeah, they're going to get to it. But the communication about it is typically on Gemini's schedule. Okay, that's what makes them most comfortable. They want to control how the situation and how the conflict occurred. They couldn't stop you from committing the offense, but they would prefer to control how you're going to resolve it. Now, generally, Geminis prefer to avoid conflict. Okay, they're going to find some other kind of way to make you get that what you did wasn't exactly the best thing for you to do. Okay, so before you bring up an issue with the Gemini, make sure it's truly worth fighting about. All right, if they didn't mention it, you notice the little nuance, something that changed, something's a little chillier about them. If you can go ahead and correct the behavior and not really have to get into a debate with the Gemini, they prefer that. Go on ahead and do that. That's probably the best thing for your relationship. Now, if and when conflict does arise with the Gemini is evasive enough that you may not be able to tell if you even resolved anything. Okay? They'll have the discussion. They'll sit there. They may yes you to death, or they may be quiet, or option 3, the other twin comes out. You'll be pretty aware of that. But when 1 and 2, where they're just sitting and yes, they just kind of want to just go on with it. If you can be okay with that, go ahead and be okay with that. Again, you're going to pay attention to how they communicate with you beyond the conversation that lets you know whether or not the Gemini was receptive to what happened. Now, approaching them as if it's just a conversation and not an argument is really the best way to get anywhere with them, okay? You don't want to be confrontational with them because that immediately gives them the fight or flight choice. And that's not what you want. You want to resolve. So you don't want them to shut down. You don't want them to buck up at you. You want to be heard and you want to progress past the problem. Keep it light with them. Even if a Gemini is very communicative, they can shut down on you in an instant when it comes to face-to-face conversations. They will be chatty Cathy, okay? Chatty Patty, and you guys are talking, and you're going along well. And then you mention something that Gemini just really doesn't want to get into. They will shut down and look at you and ice. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I heard you. That's going to be your Gemini because they've made a choice, fight or flight. They took off mentally. Okay? The way to be effective and to get them is you want to keep it light and you want to ask them conversations, lots of questions, get them to participate in the discussion, and then let them decide what they'd like to talk about. Let the Gemini reveal to you whether or not it's an issue. Now, 2 sides, okay? This may be your issue. It is not Gemini's issue. So you're going to have to get Gemini to buy in to the fact that this issue is important to you, so they need to listen. Well, if that is the case, please know that Geminis have a tendency to drift off and get bored easily. They will be having another conversation in their mind that consists of something like, I don't know why they're talking to me about this mess. I don't care. If you're upset about it, so what? Yeah, that's what, now they're not saying it, they're looking at you, but that could be happening in your Gemini's mind. So what you want to do is ask your Gemini to listen to you attentively because this is important to you. Okay, and you want to reiterate, are you listening? What did you hear me say? Are you feeling attacked? What is it that I can make you understand? Where I don't want to belabor this. I just want to tell you how I feel about whatever. You want to keep it specific. You want to make it logical. You don't want to belabor too much about how you're feeling, because how you're feeling isn't necessarily letting your Gemini know what the issue is. And as I said to you, they'll check out in the middle of a conversation and then come back and they'll have no idea what you're talking about. And they're going to treat the discussion that way, okay? Consider adding some humor to your conversation, because Geminis like it airy and funny. Most of them are. So if you could say, this happened and I felt like this, and oh my goodness, I thought it was that. And, keep it light. Keep them engaged. That's the best way to approach it. You're likely to lose their attention if you come at them guns a-blazing. Or you're going to make them open up that magic door where that other person's going to come out. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. Hold tight. Now, adopt a flexible and open attitude, free-flowing like a conversation. Don't make it one-sided. Don't act as though you're the principal and you've got this bad kid in your office and you're chastising them. They're not going to respond positively to that conversation. So you want to make sure that it's in an even exchange. You don't want to do all the talking. As I said, you want to ask them questions. You want to get the Gemini to buy in to the discussion, okay? Also, the surroundings are important when you're trying to have a discussion with your Gemini, especially if it is an issue that you have and not necessarily an issue that they're having, okay? So it's not unheard of to have a serious conversation with your Gemini at a restaurant, at a sports bar, at an arcade where you're shooting baskets, playing things, because they're going to be more receptive. They're going to be engaged with you. Again, keep the tone light. Don't turn it into World War III in public, confrontational, but more of a fact-finding, as a matter of fact, this is something I wanted to discuss. Can we talk about it? Okay? Now, people born under Gemini have a real mouth on them, in case you didn't know. In case your partner hasn't revealed that to you. Oh, yeah, they have a mouth on them. They also have another side to them. So there's a very fun, loving, receptive, humorous side, life of the party Gemini, and then there's that other one. Yeah, that's the other one that we don't let them come out of the basement. We try to keep them locked up because they're not coming with anything good. That's usually the devil's son or the devil's daughter. And the Gemini tries to keep them under wraps. Or you may have the Gemini that's the persona that they have out all the time. And then they keep the nice, sweet one locked up because they've decided that society doesn't deserve them anymore. Be that as it may, this is how you win an argument with a Gemini, knowing that there's another side to them that could come out and get you, all right? Now, Geminis actually enjoy arguing to a degree, okay? They enjoy exchange if it's going somewhere, if it's beneficial. They don't want an exchange that's going to frustrate them and make them think that you're more of an idiot than when they started the discussion. I'm not calling you an idiot. I'm saying from the Gemini point of view, they like having discussions that's going to help them discover more about you. They don't want to have a discussion with you and then they come off believing that, oh my God, what am I doing with this person, okay? So they like having somebody to talk things over with, but it is the way in which you approach it with the Gemini. That's the key, okay? They like talking to people. They like talking, texting, tweeting, Googling. And so if you're in the middle of a discussion, don't be so put off with your Gemini because they're texting and tweeting. They may actually be looking for facts to support their argument because they're going to be engaged and they're going to try to hit you with it because the Gemini wants to win. Now, how do you win? Well, the best way to win is to say what you need to say in a very lighthearted way, using logic, less emotion, and then move on. So it's basically find your target, drop the bomb, and get out of there. That's how you do it with a Gemini. It's really bump with them, okay? It's not going on and on and on and on, because the more you say, the more they're going to chip away at what you say. No, it's strategic. Find your target, lock in on it, boom, hit it, move on. Now, should you approach it perhaps in the wrong way and you have somehow got them to engage that other side of them, you know, the twin, and they're out, they won't listen to you, okay? It's over with. They're on 10. They're going to stay on 10 because that's what that personality is. So the best thing that you can do is pull the plug on the whole conversation and leave it alone. That's right. Leave that twin to do their thing by themselves. Get out of there. It's a no-win situation. It's over. You're not in a relationship with that twin anyway, so it doesn't matter if you leave them. Walk away. Don't engage. If they let the other twin out, it's beyond reason. Just let them blow and just wait for the fire to go out on its own. Okay? Abort the whole thing. Because when you take away a Gemini's ability to talk, you remove their power. Yeah, because a Gemini likes to communicate. So when you shut down communication on them, especially if they've engaged the other twin, well, they're going to go nuts, but that's beside the back. Seek safety, seek shelter, get away. But after that, cut it off. You leave them to have to talk to themselves. Well, they'll talk themselves through the volcano. Okay, eventually, depending upon your Gemini, depending upon the issue, has amount of time, you know your partner. But as I said, if they've hit the switch and they've engaged the twin, get out of there, okay? But if you still have the other side of the Gemini, the kinder, softer, gentler one, you can make them see your point by keeping it humorous, keeping it light, say what you need to say, make it logical, show them how it is more advantageous to see things from your point of view so that you two can just move on, because they really don't want to be stuck in this quagmire with you. They really like to keep things fun. They want to get back to the fun. So if you can show the Gemini how they can go ahead and resolve this and get back to the fun, it's more advantageous to them. They will go along with you, okay? But just remember, whether the Gemini admits it or not, when you control the communication, when you've taken that control away from them, and you're now in the driver's seat on how we're going to move it through this, you won. So, how do you win an argument against a Gemini? Control the communication. Take that back for them. Don't let them shut down on you. Keep it open. Get them to buy in. Move towards how this can stay fun, light, and you can get back to all the good yummy feelings. A Gemini is going to acquiesce to you, okay? Just remember my warning. If you let them engage that other twin, save yourself. Get out of there. It's dangerous for you. You're in danger. Alrighty, so are you a Gemini? Did I forget something? You guys know I'm telling the truth. There's two people in that relationship. Most Geminis are very loving and sweet, and they just want to get past the conflict and into the good stuff. So if you're having a discussion with the Gemini, or the Gemini is the one with the issue, you want to hear what they have to say, you want to buy in, you want to acknowledge, and then you want to get back to the fun. You can do that. It's a win-win for the both of you, and everything will be Gucci. All right? So, that's it. If you have other pointers about how you deal with your Gemini, leave it in the comment section below. I'll definitely be down there checking it out. And if you're a Gemini and you don't agree with what I said, hey, write it down. I'll take it on. I'm not scared. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Try to avoid the twin when you're fighting with the Gemini, and it's all good. See you next time. Bye-bye.